So, when you listen to the world champions of public speaking, every time I see one, they always say the same thing. They say there are 6 words that can make you a champion. They all agree that it's these 6 words. Anyone know what the 6 words are? No?
Ladies and gentlemen.
No? that we do have to say, yeah. So the 6 words are: tell a story, make a point. They always say that. Many of us are very good with the first part, telling a story, but we forget the second part, make a point. So we just don't tell a story just for telling a story. We have to have a point. And that, in their estimation, is the way we become champion speakers, if we follow that particular rule. So in this workshop, I'm going to share with you an extension of that idea. Tell a story, make a point. So before I do that, as you see from our PowerPoint earlier, I want to share with you the idea of how do you write a speech. And this is controversial amongst world champions. So some of the world champions, half of them will say, take a piece of paper, write it out word for word, check the grammar, check the word count, make sure everything's done like a script, and then memorize it. The other half will say, no, that's rubbish. It's true, they will say that. They will say it's not correct, because the speech is spoken. So you know the way that we write and the way that we speak are 2 different things. So if we write our speech, it doesn't sound like we're speaking. It sounds like we're reading something that we wrote. So how do you make it so that it sounds like we're speaking? Bring on the technology. So the way I recommend is, the person that taught us this was a guy from Colorado. He said, what you do is you record your speech, right? Like you're talking to people, like you're talking in a coffee shop with your best friend across from you, and you just speak your speech. And then you can transcribe it out. Because of technology, we can go directly from voice to text. So you just speak your speech into your computer, it types it all up. You can fix up the grammar and the structure and all that. And then you've written a speech that sounds like it's a speech, not like something that's written. So that's your shortcut using technology to write your speech by speaking it out. Okay? So now we come to part 2. Part 2 is the 3 elements of the winning speech. And first mistake that people make, I'll tell you the first mistake that people make. They go to speech contest and they say, I'm going to take notes. And they say, okay, he or she spoke about this, this is the topic. And they focus on the topic, not on the content. Why do I know this? Because I've been in enough speech contests. For about 5 years in Hong Kong, the speech was my first date. So the next year, 5 speeches were my first date. The first person I dated. And it went on for about 5 years. My first date. And that was really popular. None of the others won. The first guy won. All the other guys didn't even place. But that's a big mistake. You think it's the topic. It's not the topic. It's the content. It's what you put in the speech. So the formula that I am suggesting is please, please, and please is please your audience. It's not about pleasing yourself, right? Some people actually think they're making the speech for themselves. And that's where they make the mistake. It's about me, my speech, my contest. I'm going to win. And that's where you make the mistake. The trick is to please your audience. So let me break it down. PL, practical lesson or powerful lesson. That's the message part. So the message part is your conclusion. Now, here's the worst, absolute worst mistake any speaker can make, contest or not contest, is you go blah, 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 blah. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. And everyone in the audience is going, I waited 7 minutes for you to say that's the end of my speech. What was the point? What were you talking about? What were you trying to say? What's your message? So the key to overcome that, if you want to have a powerful lesson, a strong message, write your conclusion first. If you write your conclusion first, you know where you're going, and your audience knows where you're going when you're finished. EA, emotional appeal. So if you look at all the champion speakers, one thing they do is in their voice, in their gestures, in their props, everything they do is to get an emotional response. Some will make you laugh, some will make you cry, and every emotion in between, right? And the more you can do it, so if you make them laugh, 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 that's a humorous speech. If you make them cry, 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 that's a sad speech. But if you make them cry and laugh, it's a cycle. And people like that. They like having their emotions played with, right? We can go too extreme. The first contest I entered when I got to the higher level, I was by myself. None of my club members went with me. So people came up to me and said, "So you're going to make people cry?" What? I said, "When you get to this level, you have to make people cry. If you don't make people cry, you can't win the contest." I said, "No." I said, "Oh, you're going to lose then." I didn't lose, I won. But, and I didn't make people cry. But the other 7 speakers in that contest all made people cry. They were talking about how they were in the submarine, and the submarine was going to get bombed, and it was going to crash, and everyone was in tears. But they didn't win. But this shows that we shouldn't copy everything that we see. It's not really a good idea. It's better to study many and then try to extract the idea. So the emotional appeal is very, very important. So find a way in your storytelling and in your point of your speech to have lots of emotional fluctuation. And I'll tell you a real secret. Judges in the contest do not follow the criteria. Okay? Okay? They follow the noise in the room. So people go, ha, 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 and then, right? And they can hear it, they can feel it. That gets you points. That gets you points. In a humorous contest, the more laughs you get, the longer the laughs are, guaranteed you win. It's not, they don't go, oh, grammar's like, they really don't. And I've talked, and myself as a judge, I don't do that. And I've watched, and I asked other judges, they said, no, I don't follow it. It's just my gut instinct. It's not really a science, okay? Although I think the sheet makes us feel better because we think it's more fair. But in reality, people do not follow that. They follow the emotional feeling of the room and the response. So that's why it's important to have EA, emotional appeal. Last one. Strong ending. Strong ending, right? So again, we talked about this earlier, but this really needs to be emphasized because this is the part about, you know, tell a story, make a point, have a point. No point, no speech. No speech, no win, okay? And so I think that's really the key, is really work on that message, work on that conclusion so that it's really strong. People get it, right? Not like, bye-bye, that's it, I'm done, okay? That does not work, okay? So, now that I've told you the 3 secrets, I want you to forget them. I'm serious. I'm serious. Because what happens is we can become too clever for ourselves. But don't forget them entirely. Put them in the back of your head. But don't go like, oh, wow, Herbert said this and this and this. I've got to do it exactly like this. Because what will happen is you overwhelm yourself. And you'll say, oh, I've got to do it all like this to be perfect. I've got to do all this to be right. And then you pressure yourself. And that's no good. That's no good. And the reason I tell you that is when I first went into contests when I was in Canada, I had none of this information. And I still won. So sometimes it's better not to know what's going on than, oh, I better do it like this, and I better do it like this, and I better do it like this, and I change my speech like this and like this and like this, and then I'll win, right? That's actually, there's something wrong about that, right? You're just trying to be too clever. And when you do that, and the other reason I tell you that is because I want to encourage everyone who can enter the contest to enter the contest. Because after you hear a presentation like this, you say, oh, I can't do that, so I won't enter the contest. The real secret to winning a contest is not to go for number one. The real key in a contest is for your own development. You enter a contest, I guarantee you will improve. You do one project speech in the club, you go up like this. You do a speech in a contest, you go up like this. Doing a contest speech is the same as doing 3 or 4 projects. Absolutely. Because your nervousness goes up and then you have to overcome it. Your thought processes improve and everything gets better. And you can ask anyone that's been in a contest. They will tell you the same thing. Just do it. Just go in the contest and try. If you do that, you're a winner. You're really the winner and then you get the most benefit out of your membership. And I won't hear people say, oh, Toastmasters is so expensive. After you go into a contest and you see the results, you're going to say, wow, I want to go for the next contest and the next contest and the next contest. And you'll see people that are in contests are addicted to contests because they understand the value of being in the contest has. So I highly recommend take some of the advice that I've given you, but don't take it like so seriously that it stops you from entering a contest. It gives you some good guidelines and things to look for, but it's not like, you know, this is written in stone, you got to do it like this, otherwise you won't win, okay? A lot of winners have not followed any of this advice and done very well, okay? My advice really, if you qualify to enter a contest, do it, no matter what you think. I know some people say, oh, my English is not good enough, my grammar's no good. That's not the point in Toastmasters. The point in Toastmasters is how well you can communicate. You know, when you fall off a boat and you have to yell for help in English, nobody's going to say, he didn't say it grammatically correct, I'm not going to help it, right? Nobody does that, right? He says he wants help, I'm going to go help him, right? If he says it clear enough, I'm going to go help him. I'm not going to say, like the English teacher, his English is no good, I'm not going to help him, okay? So, very important to remember that. And one final thing, how's my time? Oh, 12, I'm still doing good. I'm going to be under time. I have a free gift for you tonight. This is a classic, out of print. So this book came out in 1999. I used to sell it at workshops, my public workshops. So this is 200 tips, traps, tricks, and techniques. And now digitized. So you just bring out your phone and scan the code, sign up, give me your email address, and you'll get it in minutes. Technology is wonderful.
It is really cool.
Save on paper. So any questions? Any questions? It all sank in. We got winners in this room. Yes?
I have a question.
Yes.
So how, winning is fun and all.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we lose, we get really upset. What are your tips on mitigating that kind of emotions?
Okay. So I always tell people it's a question of character. And to answer the question is, when you win a speech contest, you show your character. When you lose a speech contest, you show your real character. And I think that's really the way we should look at it. That's the way we should think about it. Because, and if you look at the Toastmasters guidelines, that's actually what they say. They say it's not really a competition. It's to show the more proficient members their skills to the other members. It's not like to win. It's really not to win. And I sadly say that some members really go at it like to win. And then when they lose, they're really unhappy. You see them walk away and they don't want to talk to anyone. And that's really not the spirit of Toastmastering at all. The spirit is to share what you know, share what you learn, so that other people can benefit from it, and then go from there. And come back next year. Try again. Good? Thank you.
Yeah. Also like in prepared speech, we often share our stories, right? Even in the context.
Yes.
But also like for someone, they will have some interesting and wonderful stories, like up and downs, like students share many interesting stories. But like maybe for me, I don't have like up and down story. So what should we do? As you mentioned, like emotional appeal, like we need some story, right?
Right.
That when we don't have, then what we do?
So it's called embellishment. Sometimes you can take 2 or 3 stories and put them together into a sequence. So it's a bit fictional, but it's not absolutely fiction. But sometimes, you know, this happened to you this day and this happened to you this day. You put the 2 together and it becomes more funny because you add more characters and things like that. The key to stories that most people miss is the stories tend to be me stories, I stories. And that's a turnoff to the audience, right? So you have to find a way to turn a me story into a you story. So if you can say, has that ever happened to you? Do you have an experience like that? Then they go, makes me think, right? Now it thinks about my life, my situation, and it's not about the speaker. It's about a lesson that you learned, okay? Thank you very much.
Yep.